it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he, and I am here today with. I'm here today with my panelists, and we are about to get into another week of the fast and the foolishness. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank everybody for continuing to support Empower Network, and just thank everybody from across the world, including Argentina, Canada, and oh God, where else? Chile. I'm sorry, had a hiccup. Other places, and we also thank you all for subscribing. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please hit that little subscribe button right there. I'm guessing. And also share, like, as well. We do appreciate it. It does mean a lot to us. Coming to us today, we have Miss Marvis Berry. How you doing, Marvis?
Hello.
Mr. Brad Cawthon, how you doing, sir?
Sir, yes, sir. Always a pleasure.
All right, then we got Mr. Michael Berry. How you doing, Mike?
Doing good. How are y'all?
Man, beautiful, and we can hear you nice and clear. That's all right with me. And last, but certainly not least, but well, definitely last. He came out after I did. That would be Jermaine Parker. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, big bruh, man? I got my gear on and ready to protest. Hey, we storming the Capitol. What we doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna go right with you. But you go ahead. I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's funny you bring that up. We did discuss that a little bit on our last show where we had Antifa and Black Lives Matter dressed up as white people storming the Capitol last week. Or at least that was the story that was being flouted, was somehow that Black lives, it's just like saying, there was a bunch of black people that infiltrated a Klan rally. How could you not know it was them? Because it's not the fact that everybody's wearing hoods, but when we do it, we're gonna do it with style. The hood would have been turned to the side or around back, something like that. That would have been a clear sign that wasn't a regular white person.
And there would have been a little bop going on. You know what I mean?
Right. They sitting there, they doing their songs and stuff, and everybody else offbeat except for that one dude. Just seemed to have a little bit of unnatural rhythm. How's he keeping up with the beat? Yeah. See, this dead giveaway. See, those are what we call tails, and we obviously know that those were not Black Lives Matter or any Antifa groups or anybody else that stormed the Capitol. People say that when they try to distance themselves from the crazy stuff that they do. It's like having a family member and act like you don't know them when they get a little drunk at Thanksgiving. You're like, right now, I don't know. Is he with you? So, that's what they tried to do now in Congress, and a lot of that is starting to come back on them. But as you heard, all of that mess prompted Aunt Nancy to get the cracking in Congress and go ahead with a speedy, I don't know which one was faster, Amy Coney Barrett getting confirmed or Donald Trump getting impeached for the second time. But when they want to do something, damn it, boy, they can move as fast as the Flash.
Right.
Yeah, they definitely moved on that. And I'm not against it. I mean, I know a lot of people it was funny, the Republicans were now talking about, oh, you're going too fast, and this is going to divide the country. That's what's dividing the country?
Right.
You've had Donald Trump in there for 4 years, and impeaching him was dividing the country? Yeah, anyway. So, and then we also have And now we have the Senate out on recess. So the earliest date that they're planning on taking up the impeachment happens to be on January 19th. Oh, by the way, Mitch McConnell's last day as Senate Majority Leader. And then Chuck Schumer of New York will be now the Senate Majority Leader. So his right. So his first day on the job, he gets to decide how much time they spend on impeachment trials and how much time they spend on confirming appointees for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So that's where we are, people. What do you think? What's going on? How y'all feeling about it? Anybody?
I mean, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I think they did the right thing. Despite what people are saying about there's not enough time, you're only going to split the country. They need to go ahead and stand on principle and do what they did. Now, the Senate, we hope, can do the same thing. I think we need 17 senators to jump the fence. I don't know if we can get that many. We did get 10 in the House. I don't know if we can get 17 senators to do that. And it'll be interesting to get their vote out into the public. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to hear what they have to say. Let's go through this little trial or whatever it may be.
Why does it mean so much to you?
Because I want them to stand on record and say what they believe, say how they have analyzed these series of events, what took place last week, his entire presidency. Let them be public about it. Let's not play this game of when he's gone, now we can talk about him, and you were never really with him in the first place. No, let's get you in writing. So that 50 years from now, there is no secret about where you stood. We want to hear Mitch McConnell talk about, because he's apparently on the fence, right? So let's see what Mitch is thinking. How safe can he play it? He's either going to go vote yes or no. Let's see how he plays it.
I think Mitch is going to actually vote for it because he doesn't need Trump. And that's what a lot of them don't understand. You don't really need him anymore. He's so disgraced. His approval ratings are the lowest that they've ever been. He's going to go out with some of the lowest approval ratings ever. And the thing with this is that the motivation, they are, and the reason Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz did their whole thing is that they want to be able to position themselves to run for president in 2024. Now, the problem that everybody's been talking about is, now Trump's losing. He may announce on the day he loses that he's running for 2024, and now it pumps the brakes on the rest of his party. It literally freezes them from, number one, being able to raise money for them because it's all going to go to Trump. Now, if you impeach and convict him, you can then vote to keep him from ever being in public office ever again. Well, yes, the Democrats would love that, but how many of those Republicans that really never liked this cat anyway always saw him as taking and hijacking their party, having an opportunity to get some of it back? Some of it you're gonna lose. You just gotta accept that. There's just some people. It's like rooting for a team. People rooting for a team because LeBron is on that team. You got to understand that when LeBron leaves the Lakers, there's a certain amount of people that are no longer going to be Laker fans. There's nothing you can do about that. But there's still going to be some diehard Lakers. Jack Nicholson ain't going nowhere. All them people, they ain't going nowhere. But there's some other people that support LeBron that now when he comes to the Hornets, and we win a couple NBA championships with him, they're going to become Hornets fans.
We're not even going to feed into that little piece that you just dropped. We're not even going to feed into it.
I only said that because I know how much LeBron watches the show, and I was just trying to give him another destination.
Just putting a bug in his ear, right?
Right. Yeah. LeBron, you'll be in the same division as James Harden, and now, y'all get to play so many times a year, okay? Just saying. But no, so what's going to happen is as soon as, LeBron leaves, a lot of people leave because they were not authentic Laker fans. They were LeBron fans. As soon as Trump leaves office, you're already going to lose a whole bunch of those people anyway. They're not really Republicans. They're Trump people. And you don't necessarily need them because they don't like to play right. They come shooting up shit. So you don't want them. So focus on your party, and within the next 25, 30 years, y'all will win another election. Just, take one for the team now. Get on record, like you said, and get this man out of your party, cleanse yourself of this, so that you can move forward and really figure out who you guys are and who you're going to be. We already know who you are and who you're going to be, but,
Right.
obviously they don't really know. But we did have 10 Republicans, led by Liz Cheney, daughter of a war criminal, that decided to have a conscience, and she's safe too. She's in Wyoming. She ain't worried about no re-election. She gonna get reelected. Just like Mitt Romney in Utah. He didn't win because of Trump. He didn't win not because of Trump. He won because he's in Utah. So there were some people that are in more highly contested states where they could get primaried by a lunatic and end up getting booted out of Congress. So they did take a little bit more steps and everything. But I don't like this whole thing about now people look courageous because they did the right thing, when they've had 4 years to do this. This time last year, Donald Trump was going through his first impeachment, and all of them sat idly by. Not one of them agreed to impeachment then. At least we got 10 this time. But
Well,
I think
I think that kind of goes to the point for Brad. We talk about you want them on record. They've been on record for 4 years. I don't think that this vote particularly puts them someplace else in history. They've stuck by him through thick and thin, and if there's anything that's going on, it's what you said. It's an opportunity for them to break away from Trump and shed that from the party and stuff, and claim that that was a bridge too far. But I really just think it's interesting how many people will vote against their own self-interest, even after he put them in peril and stuff. How many people are willing to say, it wasn't that bad, and I think some of them, like is it Holly?
Holly,
Like Holly, who I think as we watch the investigations and more things come out, because I think since the last time we talked, there have been more videos that have come out and more allegations that have come out. I know they suspended 2 officers. They had another dozen out there that they were investigating stuff. As more stuff comes out, you see how, and there's some accusations that there were senators that the day before were giving private tours to a lot of people that were running through the office and stuff. As you see more coming out and stuff, I think you're going to understand why there's so many people who are entrenched in this lie and stuff, because they were complicit, and not just turning a blind eye, but actually helping in what happened on the 6th. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see, but quite honestly, I personally just think it's as far as the Senate, no matter what the trial, it's not really a trial, right? It's a political thing. And so for everybody talking about the timing and stuff, you don't have to give them due process because it's not a trial. And there is no due process. It is completely political and stuff. I mean, sure, there's evidence and stuff for people to make a decision and stuff, but it's not a legal trial. So this whole thing about it's too quick and stuff, that's nonsense.
Well, we know that that's true because they were also calling for witnesses. And a year ago, when we were trying to say, hey, we have witnesses that Trump sat there and pressured the Ukrainian president.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they didn't want to hear about no witnesses then. No, let's get this on through. They didn't want to hear from John Bolton and other people that would have said, oh, yeah, he did. I was there. He did it. They didn't care about witnesses then. They were like, no, let's push this on along. Let's rush this on through so that we can have plausible deniability. Now they want witnesses. Here's the thing. Everybody that was there for the impeachment hearing in the House, you are the witnesses. You dumbasses, you were there. Who you gotta ask when you seen it yourself? What are you gonna say? Oh, that's hearsay. Bruh, you were there. That ain't hearsay, that's firsthand accounts. So, all of this is always political theater, but you're right, Jermaine. It's funny how a lot of them decided, hey, I can use this as my off-ramp and resign and look like I'm resigning in protest, even though it's less than a week out. Even Lord knows, Betsy DeVos who don't know the difference between the number 2 pencil and the number 2 train decided she wanted to go ahead and quit. Lady, you should never been the Secretary of Education anyway. And then Elaine Chao, you know, Mitch McConnell's wife. I just always can hear her saying, "Love you long time." I don't know why, but every time I see her, so she's gone, and that's fine. And some people were like, "Well, they could have stayed and tried to gin up this whole 25th Amendment." I'm glad they didn't touch the 25th Amendment, because yes, you would have removed him from office temporarily for a couple of days, but you would not have given yourself a chance to remove him from ever running for an office again.
Well, and this is where this is something that you can put on record too. I don't say this often. I agree with Mike Pence. Mike Pence said the 25th Amendment isn't for that, and he's not absolutely right. It is completely.
There you go.
I know somebody's trying to call me. I'm a busy man. If you need a household, Jermaine Parker Realty. But
we had no idea that you did anything with realty. I don't know. We just didn't know.
Well, I mean, sometimes you gotta look for the signs. But like I was saying, I don't agree with Mike Pence often. But that he was absolutely right. There's a process, and this was the process for that. Is to, if you wanted to impeach him and stuff, and the whole the refrain that, well, he's about to leave anyway, is the dumbest refrain I've ever heard before. That's like saying that somebody was a senior in high school and they allowed some bullies and hate groups to come in and harass and beat up the faculty and stuff, and even somebody died from it. And then when everything with the smoke clears, like, well, he's graduating next week anyway. There's nothing to do. Might as well just let him, the rest of the days he's here. It'll be cool.
But I mean, I thought the same thing. I'm like, would you let a terminally ill person get away with murder just because they're about to die anyway?
I don't know. That's a good one, because no, it's a good one, because that's a good one. Except for the fact is that, so he's not going to be president anymore, but he's going to be present more.
Correct.
And so
he's still going to be around. Now they're going to make his life live in hell. He might wish he was terminally ill.
Yeah. That's a different conversation. But he accountability, and it's so funny from the group that screams law and order, that they don't want any accountability, and that would be too harsh and stuff like that. But these are the same people when they just put metal detectors in,
right?
And now they don't want to go to the metal detectors
because some of them are carrying. They're packing on the Senate floor, on the House floor. They're packing. Like the one lady, she sat there and said, you ain't searching my bag. And she pushed the guy out the way and went on in.
Yeah, well, she's made commercial. Why they haven't gone after her in particular? Because she's actually made a commercial saying that she was going to carry a gun, because she's 5 foot, 100 pounds. How do I know? Because
is that Colorado?
So.
Yeah. She being all, rootin' tootin' deputy dogging on the floor of the House.
Is she making videos? Is she the one in the picture?
Yes.
Yeah, with the gun on her hip.
I don't know if it was the one on the hip, but she's standing, and they're framing it as though she gave a tour.
She did.
To this group of folks.
She did, Brad.
And there are a couple of people in there with the white power symbol. Like 4 people in that picture have the white power symbol open, right? But that wasn't from the 5th of January. That was from, a year ago in Colorado. Still with open white racists, white supremacists, whatever. She's still an elected official standing with them. But that wasn't from January 5th.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, she's an interesting character. She is.
Yeah. Jermaine's point though, they're so law and order until the law come to them, and now they're like, I thought Blue Lives Mattered and all that. You only hear that when Black people are standing in front of police. That's when Blue Lives Matter. That's what they really mean. I'm starting to realize, when Jermaine always says that wasn't for us, or that's about us. That's exactly what that is.
So it'll be interesting to see if these officers lose their jobs. You know what I mean? There were a couple of people who were from New York who've been on TV. They were in court this week, a couple of them, and it was, one of them works right here, 10 miles from here in White Plains. So it's how interesting how far away it was, but yet how close at home it is, because we know it's all around us. It's all throughout the country. And that's what we're seeing, at least black folks are seeing, something that we've seen and known for the past 300-400 years. None of this is new to us. But
None of it.
we can act like we're shocked and amazed.
We're not. We're not. I mean, how many of us are surprised if we found out that there were white supremacists in policing? There were white supremacists in Congress. There are white supremacists in education. There's white supremacists in our jobs. We go through that all day long. We know. They just finally found this useful idiot to push out their stuff. That's all. They've been in every part of our life, but now it's going to be exposed that they were a lot closer than these people in Congress believed. That's why Cori Bush got out there and they started booing her because she started talking about we got to get rid of this white nationalist in chief. And they started booing because it was the white nationalists in Congress that were booing her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really, really crazy. So in another week, he will be citizen Donald J. Trump. How soon is it going to take for him to be indicted?
Who? There's so many people out there. He owed money. What we
Take your pick.
Who?
Take your pick. Who got him? Who coming?
So I'm wondering, do they coordinate? Do they talk to each other? You got Letitia James here in New York. You got the guy down in D.C. I don't know how they coordinate their efforts and who's going to go first. I don't know. I really, really, really like Tish James. I just want her to be careful and make this about Donald Trump and not about her career. You know what I mean? I don't want her to go too fast and then not have the good and it not succeed.
Yeah, it's like wrestling with a greasy pig. You think you got him, and then he squirts out of your hands. That's a Southern thing.
I'm not in North Carolina, brother. I'm not in North Carolina.
I know.
You don't know nothing about wrestling no pigs.
I had to give you a North Carolina wrestling because we do wrestle pigs, and they get a little greasy and they, squirt out your hands. You thought you had it. We also, that's how we court and made our wives down here too.
Ew. So I have a question. If he indeed gets indicted, does that mean he gives up all the privileges of what a president like? Does he not get guarded by Secret Service anymore? Do we not have to call his ass Mr. President like we do with other presidents that have served their term? We still refer to them as Mr. President. Does he get stripped of all of that?
So if he is convicted in the Senate for impeachment, the only thing that he loses, he does get a limited Secret Service detail.
See, that's bullshit. I don't want nobody putting their lives for him.
Right.
Let him and his clan be on their own.
If he's convicted, which I didn't even realize this, he loses his pension. He doesn't get that anymore. But I still believe he does get a limited amount of Secret Service detail for the rest of his life.
I think he loses that. I think he
does.
There were four major things that he loses. Sorry, Mike.
I think he only loses that if he is banned from everything going forward.
Right. That's
so if he's convicted.
Right.
If he's when he's convicted, he's not automatically removed. Then they have the option after they convict him to do a vote to say he can never run for public office. Right. So yes,
I'm not sure any of that. So do yourself a favor and follow Daniel Dale. I think it's at Daniel Dale at Twitter and stuff, and he's on CNN. He's the fact checker that's been with. And so there was a lot of things that came out saying that Donald Trump was going to lose. Like he had $1 million travel budget and stuff. Well, that was, that's not true from Daniel Dale because at a certain point, all presidents got lifetime Secret Service, and so there was no budget. It was just in the Secret Service stuff. So they don't have that's for pre-Carter presidents that didn't have the lifetime Secret Service detail and stuff. And so there's a couple things out there kind of floating around. It's maybe not, and I get it because we want to hang on to this stuff like, well, I don't want my dollars paying for that guy, right?
Correct. Exactly.
But I think we're in some uncharted territory, right? Obviously, we're on the second impeachment, uncharted and stuff. What does it really mean? Is he really going to get removed? Because nobody's been removed, but I hesitate to say what he's going to lose and all this stuff, because we really are in uncharted territory as far as having a criminal in the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll look a little bit more into that too. There are some things that he does lose if he's convicted, but yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it right now. Just some, and I think a lot of it is that it's never had to be considered.
Yes, that's like
he's pushed boundary on so many things. I mean, my God, Donald Trump is that employee that you work with, where he's been written up 2 times, but you know that he very damn well could have already been written up a whole lot more times. He should have been fired a long time ago, but he only got 2 write-ups in his file. So he's hanging on by that thread. That's Trump. He could have been impeached like, 4 or 5 more times, He does an impeachable offense almost once a month, at least.
I think they did include the phone call to Georgia.
They did.
Yeah, they included that.
Yeah, they threw it in.
That was big too. That was huge. But given everything else that had taken place, we didn't even talk about that much. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was no national discussion, maybe for a day or so. But that was huge. All I need is 12,000 votes. Can't you find me 12,000 votes?
Which was really utterly ignorant, because even if he said, "Yeah, Mr. President, I got him sitting right in front of me," which I think is the response that he wanted, is to say, "You know what? I think we can do that." Well, the votes have already been certified. The Electoral College has already spoken. So even if he conjured up 12,000 votes, number one, you needed more than that to win.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you messing with this man when you need Pennsylvania to create some votes for you? You need Arizona. You need Nevada. You need more than just in Georgia.
Because that wasn't the only phone call that he had.
Right.
So that was kind of the point. And there were a lot of people who just simply didn't tape them or didn't release tapes of those conversations.
Right. That's true.
But
That's true.
Those were not the only conversations that he was having about these votes and stuff like that. And, this whole affair is just sad. It really is, because we really should be celebrating our first minority female as vice president, historic stuff. We should be focusing on that kind of stuff this week in preparation for the inauguration. But right now we got 20,000 troops descending upon D.C. And they're erecting 8-foot barriers and stuff. And, they got all these things going on. That's what our focus is. And how much damage can this man do before he leaves office? And it's just ridiculous.
It's funny you say that. One of the congressmen that served in military made the note of that we got more people in D.C. right now than we do in Afghanistan. It's just kind of funny how we got more troops in our capital. Speaking of which, too, I know we brought this up the last time, but Muriel Bowser, the mayor of DC, is still pushing for statehood, so that she can have more of a hold on the National Guard when things like that happen, because she has to go through a lot of different channels just to be able to get the National Guard into DC. There's always been pushback from the Republican Party about giving DC statehood. Now, they give you all these other reasons. I'm going to tell you the real reason. If you make DC a state, DC has to have representation in the United States Senate, meaning that they would have 2 U.S. senators. And who in this panel thinks that either one of those senators would end up being a damn Republican in the state of DC?
I think Marion Barry has a shot at coming back. That's what
Oh God! Please no! Stop! Stop!
I'm sorry. Am I cracking you up?
I'm back, bitches.
He's got shot.
The same goes for Puerto Rico, right? That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Stated for Puerto Rico. So
that's exactly. If they can give you as many other reasons as it is, it comes down to demographics. they know that they would be installing 2 lifetime Democratic positions. All they look at is how politically advantageous it is. If they thought that it would lean Republican, they would be all over it. Hell, they stacked the court that way. Of course, they would add another state. Hell, they'd split Texas into 2 states if they could. That's how crazy they are. But the reason that they know that you'd have 2 Democratic senators from the state of Washington, D.C., they're going to be against it. I don't know.
That would be a blue. It would be so blue. It'd be like, no,
forever. Yeah, it'd be like New York. It'd be the second New York. You'd have 2 senators, and because of the representation in D.C. Is heavily Democratic, that they know that they would never have the Senate again, or it'd be very, not that you couldn't have it again, but they would have to work harder. They would have to change their message. They'd have to change their platform so that they could start to turn states that traditionally go blue all the time. Right. And they're not interested in that because they don't want to change their platform, for one. That's the problem. So anytime they tell you they don't want to do statehood and it's any other reason than the U.S. Senate, they're being disingenuous. That's all it's about.
You know, I always think that's kind of funny, and I know this is not the topic for tonight, but when you say that, I think about the coaches out there who coach a system and don't coach their players. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter who you are when you come to the system is the system. And so, which is very telling for the parties where they're going, well, this is our platform, and we'll represent. If you want to be represented by this platform, that's cool. If not, there's another platform for you, maybe, kind of. Instead of saying, you know what, we could make DC a state, and we could find a platform, we could find out what their platform is and run that with ours. And I don't know, represent the people, our constituents and stuff. I know I'm getting crazy again. We could actually represent the people and their wants and their needs and stuff. And that way we could always be relevant and always be in control because we're representing the actual people.
But corporations are people.
You
mean real people? You mean real people? Okay, I got you.
They are absolutely because they were ruled that way. But I mean, like I say, it's just me just looking at it and stuff. Just I know I'm off topic with it, but when you say that, that's what it makes me think of. That, you know, if our elected officials were actually interested in serving the people, they wouldn't have to worry about a lot of the things that they're worried about.
No, I agree with you. Getting back to where Marvis was originally about, we talking about Trump getting indicted and everything. I know that normally the federal government lets state governments go first when it comes to prosecutions. So if anybody wants a piece of his orange ass, normally it's going to be the state attorney generals going after him first. Federal will build up their case and everything. Now, that doesn't mean that because they share information back and forth. Now, the twist is going to be, we've only got about 6 days left. Obviously, Mitch McConnell's made it clear he's going to serve out his term. Now, it's been said that he's not even going to be in D.C. on the 20th. So we're really looking at him being out on the 19th. They talking about he already going to be down in Florida by then because he don't even want to be in D.C. the same day that Biden is going to take over the White House. So by the 19th, he's probably going to try to pardon himself. He's made it clear to a lot of people close to him that he has no intention of resigning and then hoping that Mike Pence is going to pardon him, because I don't think Mike Pence would do it.
Not at this point, not after
what he did.
I don't know. I don't have that much faith in Mike Pence.
It's not that I don't have faith in him, but my God, the man just called you a pussy.
Look at Ted Cruz.
Y'all heard that, right? He told him,
he said about his wife and his daddy.
Thank you, Brandon.
They're not. They are punking. This dude is punked.
If he just did all that to you, well, I mean, okay, I know that he told Ted Cruz his wife was ugly and his daughter helped kill JFK, and now Ted Cruz has got knee pads on lock with Trump. But my God, Pence, if this man just sat there and told you that, and now he resigns and says, now I'm going to resign, but you got me, right?
Right.
I got Don. I got you. I got you.
Nah, bro. I'm with Brad on this one, man. Because I hate to tell y'all this, but y'all poor, and so y'all don't understand the rich people politics and go into all this and stuff.
You got
Why?
that straight.
Poor.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you never had to sell yourself for this kind of money and this kind of influence and being able to go to Aspen and get on the list and all this other stuff. I don't know what rich people do, but whatever they do and stuff. And so if I was Trump, and you got to understand, if you Trump and you don't done this to all these people, why would you trust them? I wouldn't trust them.
Exactly.
They gonna
That's my
turn on
point.
you just like you would turn on them. But with Pence and stuff, I mean, look, they didn't talk for a week. They broke up for a week, and then he was in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
He's right back. And as soon as he got done talking to him, he issued a statement. Well, we're not gonna do the 25th. I agree with the principle behind it, but I mean, if he was really upset, he'd have been like, I don't care what it was for. I got it, and I'm gonna use it. But that's not what he's about. I'm with Brad stuff. I don't trust him. Why would you trust somebody at this hour in this administration to do what's right?
No, I'm not. I'm not trusting him to do what's right, because it doesn't matter what you do right now. You're not doing what's right, because anything you're doing is 4 years too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you decide, okay, like how Mitch McConnell gave a great, passionate speech that I agree with about 97% of it on the House floor. Hey, very nice for actually just telling the truth for one freaking time. I'm not giving you any credit for it. Lindsey Graham gets on the floor, which he's used to, and saying, me and Trump had a great ride, but enough is enough, count me out. A week later, he's on Air Force One going down to Texas to the border wall with Trump. Then he's going around calling Republicans and telling them to vote against impeachment because why would you impeach the man? He's only got 6 more days. When you just sat there and said enough is enough. So I don't expect him to do the right thing. I don't think Pence not pardoning him is really, him necessarily doing the right thing. I'm just saying, my God, man, the man just sat there and exacerbated you in front of everybody. And I know you've shown a feigned loyalty to the man and been the biggest sycophant in the world. Why would you pardon him? But Trump isn't going to take that chance, Jermaine. He's basically made it clear, I'm going to pardon myself. And what's going to happen is once he does that, once a federal office decides they're going to indict him, he's going to claim he is under pardon, and then it's going to be contested in court. And now the courts are going to go back and forth just to determine if he can be if his pardon will hold. So instead of them going first, the states will have a crack at him because it's undeniable that state charges will stick. So they're not going to tie themselves up in federal court over can that pardon hold. They're going to go after him with the other stuff that they know. Now, here's the other thing. If the dummy decides to pardon himself, he gives up all ability to claim the Fifth Amendment. He cannot hide under that anymore, because when you take a pardon, you are admitting guilt. To what you said last time and the time or two before, Trump makes you become more of a legal scholar because you start learning more things about how the law works. So I've learned that enough to know that, number one, state charges aren't covered under pardons. Number two, by accepting a pardon, you are accepting guilt. All these other people that he has pardoned can now be drugged into a court of law, put on a stand, and if you don't answer that question, they will drag your ass in jail under contempt of court until you're ready to talk to the judge.
Well, I would love to see any of that happen.
Me too.
Have
Me
faith
too.
that it will. Yeah.
Because Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, they know where some bodies are buried, and now they got to talk, or they can end up right back in the place that he pardoned them out of. If they don't
how ironic was it that Rudy was up on stage saying, let's have a trial by combat. Rudy, who are you combating, Rudy? You're 92 years old. You got shoe polish melt. Who are you combating, Rudy? Like, stop it. Let's have a trial by combat.
I think he's
he probably is not saying the same thing now. He's probably not saying the same thing now because today they said that Trump said, I'm not paying Rudy nothing.
Right. Which, I mean, anybody in New York is not surprised that Trump says I'm not paying my bills. So Rudy shouldn't be either. But yes, Rudy was charging him $20,000 a day,
Right.
which is over $500,000 a month, I believe. Of course, he's not paying. He says, well, Rudy didn't win anything. Well, you didn't have a case. Everybody else had enough nerve to tell you. Even the lawyers, the firms that left you told you don't have a case. You have no evidence. But it was old vampire over there telling you, oh no, we can win this. We can win this. Just give me $20,000 a day. I'll get the crazy lady to be one of the witnesses and tell everybody that what are y'all doing? You're not counting the votes. What you do? Hide them or something? That kind of those are your star witnesses that you bring in. But then when the judge asks you, is it a fraud case? You tell them, no, it's not a fraud case.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're
interesting in this whole thing, and to some extent, I've moved on from Trump, and I've kind of moved on from him a little bit because it's so tiring. It just drains you. Well, it drains me. So, but my question is, like, what happens now with all these groups are not backing down? They say, care that you put up a fence, we're coming on the 20th. We're coming and we're coming armed. So, I mean, it's a lot of talk. It's a lot of bravado. I don't think they're going to show up, but they're going to show up somewhere in some form or fashion. It may not be DC on the 20th, but they're going to show up, and we just don't know when and where and how long it's going to last. You know what I mean? But they're here, they're out, they're open, and I don't know if they're going back in the closet. So what does it mean to Biden and his administration going forward? It's going to be real interesting to see how they deal with it.
They hadn't been in a closet since the 1860s. And they come at us every day in the forms of lawyers, judges, police officers, correctional officers, any institution brought by. And so when you talk about they're going to be everywhere, they are everywhere. If you're talking about them amassing with guns and stuff, well, they're talking about having another armed protest in Michigan, which they did before. And you're not supposed to have weapons on federal buildings. And this is the thing, we talk about prosecution and law and order and all that kind of stuff. And they were even brought up on the floor during the impeachment. I forget which senator it was, talking about they had prosecuted Antifa and Black Lives Matter during the summer. You would have seen what you saw on the 6th, which isn't true. Had they taken care of the plot to assassinate the governor of Michigan, had they taken care of the armed people that showed up to the state capitol in Michigan, had they at any point showed that there was no such thing as white privilege, that justice was blind, and anybody who violated those kind of things, white, black, brown, yellow, whatever, would face prosecution, which they're kind of doing now slowly after the 6th, rounding people up. But if they showed that earlier, there'd have been a lot of people who would have thought better of following the crowd, and I was just visiting the Capitol type stuff. So those people are out there. They'll continue to be out there. They're your bosses. That's the reason you can't get your raise at your job. That's the reason that things are going wrong for you, because they're out there and they're in positions to do damage, and not just with guns.
Yeah, I agree, Brad. I honestly don't think they're going anywhere for the foreseeable future. They've just been emboldened to the things that they used to whisper under their breath a lot of times, and now they've been emboldened to now just say it out loud. Because think about it, how stupid would you be to do all of those things and you don't have a mask on? You're live streaming it. The FBI is finding these people left and right because these fools left breadcrumbs to home. They're literally just following them.
Every one of these people have like 5 people that's willing to turn them in.
Well, one guy's ex-wife did it. It was one guy's ex-wife that called the FBI and said, no, that's him.
Yeah, so now remember that some other people had snitched on him too, but what I'm saying is that we gonna run out of stitches because there's so many snitches out here in the world on this thing. I'm trying to tell you, don't cut your knee or bang your head, because if you go to the hospital, you're gonna bleed out. They are snitching in the streets all night. And hey, look, I'm not gonna lie. if you're one of my coworkers and I recognize you on the tape, I am turning you in.
That's right.
No reward needed.
Exactly.
There was a daughter who turned in her mother.
Yep.
Wow.
Turned in her
mother, an uncle, and like an aunt too. Yeah. She dined out the whole family. Yeah. Thanksgiving's gonna be uncomfortable this year.
Well, you might have a couple extra empty chairs. Shit. Well, we don't need no 20-pound turkey. We ain't got that many people.
Well, she's probably tired of raisins and everything too. So it's like,
God, I don't blame her. If you put one more raisin in that macaroni, you're going to jail for life. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you, bro. That's just nasty. I'd rather have the pig. But changing a little bit of direction. I know we only got a little bit of time left, but we are now in the midst of vaccinations coming out for COVID-19. There's been a lot of apprehension about should it be mandatory to take it? Who's it going to be given to first? What's the efficacy of them? What's it going to do if I take it? You know, I'm afraid of side effects and all those different kind of things. Right now, most states are doing it in phases where they're starting with elderly people. You have to be over a certain age, and you can come schedule a time and get your shots, and then make sure within 3 to 4 weeks you come back and get the exact same shot. If you got the AstraZeneca, then you come back and get the AstraZeneca. If you got the Moderna, you come back and get the Moderna, and that kind of thing. And then they're going to keep going down until they get different people or essential workers, nurses, all those types of people. But there's still a lot of folks that are anti-vax, because as you guys know, up in New York, the Hasidic Jew community, they ain't gonna be on board with that because they don't want to get regular shots. I know that was always a fight that I always saw when I was up there in Brooklyn, where they had issues with the school system because they didn't want to get their kids vaccinated. So how do y'all think the whole vaccination thing is gonna play out? And are you gonna get vaccinated?
I'll say it quickly because I was actually offered the vaccine. And so my wife has a medical background and stuff. And so when I initially had the call, I called her and said, hey, what do you think and stuff? And after consulting my doctor, because she's got to take care of me if I'm drooling and stuff, I turned it down. Now, being in the military in the 2000s, I have a full series of anthrax vaccines and stuff. I had no choice because it was hemming people up for not taking this stuff. And so when offered a choice this time, I said, you know what, I'm going to sit back and stand by. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting back and I'm standing by to see how everybody else do with the vaccine. So if y'all get a vaccine, y'all let me know if y'all got any symptoms.
So I'm with Jermaine there. This whole vaccine, it came out too fast. I'm gonna sit back and wait and see how it affects other people and everything. I have nothing against vaccines. Nope. I'm not in a rush to actually be a guinea pig for one. So I'll let other people, y'all can go ahead.
You know, it's interesting. We just this week, my wife and I, I won't say my wife and I, my wife made a point for both of us.
There you go.
And then it came up this morning and it says, well, wait a minute. It was a month from now. Our appointments to get vaccinated was a month from now. We had an opportunity this morning. Oh, there's no wait. We can get in now. And we both said, oh, I don't know. We both said, no, I'm good. I'll keep my appointment a month from now. And I don't know why. I don't think there'll be a big change between now and a month, but you never know. So we are getting vaccinated in 30 days or so.
Probably.
I mean, you could always fake an injury, Brad, and let Mona go ahead and get shot first, and then just kind of observe.
Nah, you got to take care of it, brother. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen.
Ain't no sense of both of you going down. Somebody got to live to tell the story. I'm just saying.
Like when she goes to sleep, I'll just break out the flashlight.
Yeah, or keep doing like this. Keep doing like this. Okay, she.
Hey, but I'm with Michael. It's not that I have a problem with vaccines and stuff. My kids are vaccinated. I've been vaccinated and stuff. It's not that. It was rather quick for the vaccine, especially to be at the rate of success that they were talking about in the 90-something percentile. When they had the the flu in 1918, 1817, whatever it was, the last time they had a big pandemic and stuff. The first vaccinations that came out were the efficiency rate were in the 30s and stuff. And, you know, talking to my wife and stuff and her research and stuff, they didn't even get until the 90s, until the 90s.
Right.
It was almost 100 years later before they were able to perfect a vaccine for something that had been around for like 80-something years. So, you know, this kind of, and I understand the technology is leaps and bounds from there. And they were doing that. I get that too, stuff. But I'm just not in a rush. I'm not in a rush. I'm going to keep washing my hands. I'm going to keep wearing my mask. I'm going to social distance and stuff. I'm going to do everything that I need to do. And it is what it is. But yeah, I'm not playing guinea pig.
And plus, there's so many mutations now.
Right.
Yeah.
This vaccine and everything, it may work on the original strain and everything, but there's like how many different strains out there now?
Well, I mean, it's just like the flu. The flu, you know,
Right.
And they'll tell you that you'll go in and get a flu shot, and then you still end up with the flu, and they say, "Oh, it's because you got a strain that our vaccination didn't, you know, cover or whatever." So I just stopped taking the flu shot. I said, "Nah, why? I'm gonna get sick anyway." Hell, I think sometimes the shot made me sick because I get sick right after taking it.
We had an experience where both of our kids in separate situations were quarantined. They were exposed to, they were around someone who later tested positive. So it brings it home. You know what I mean? It brings it home about, well, how do we separate? How do we make sure? How do we look? I'm a high risk person. I don't want to get this virus at all. I don't want to, you know, muscle through this because I may not make it. You know. So yeah, no, we're going to take the vaccination. It's just we punked out when we had an opportunity to take it this week.
How long do y'all think that it's going to take for the majority of the country to get vaccinated, or the ones that choose to be? Are we talking about the next 3, 4, 6 months, or are we talking about the same time next year? We're still going to be talking about people fighting to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I think.
I don't think so. I think that with the new administration, it is logistic and an administrative problem right now. It's not that they don't have the vaccines, and it's not that Pfizer and Moderna don't have more to give. But what is going on is that the plans are different. This is why you have to have a unified national strategy about these things and stuff. You know, you got Rick Santonis down in Florida saying, well, I'm not going to micromanage the hospitals and how they do it. And you got somebody else going, well, this is how the hospitals are going to give. These are the categories that in this state we're going to give to. These are the people we've identified in this state. And you got to have some national direction, at least state some governments to it, say, hey, look, states, this is what you need to do. This is how we're going to assist getting the vaccine out to people and stuff and make sure your supplies. But it's just one of those kind of things that's logistic. And you can say what you will about Biden and stuff, but at least he understands the importance of governments and putting people in the right positions and stuff. And you'll have professionals that are in these positions now who will be able to say, yes, we can get this done. And I think you'll see it in the next 3 or 4 months where after they've gotten in there, and that's why he doesn't want to be bothered with this whole impeachment thing, because he's got officials to get confirmed and stuff. And he's got a lot of things he wants to do in that first 100 days. This being the most important thing, because once you fix the virus, you fix the economy.
Correct. Well, you know what was really interesting, and I never thought about it, which I should have thought about it, is that another issue and thing that's hanging people up is they don't have enough people to stick people. Because just because you work in the medical field does not mean that you are licensed to be able to stick people. And they are looking to try to get waivers and stuff for that, so that other disciplines of medicine can help with a shot, long as there's somebody in the vicinity in the event that something goes wrong. We just simply need people to be able to administer the shot. But right now, if you're not legally covered to do that and something goes wrong, you can be sued. So of course it does come back to some liability issues with that as well. But yeah, I don't know. Marvis, are you getting a shot?
No, I am not.
Not?
I've never taken a flu shot. I have Tuskegee syndrome.
But you did take your MMR when you were a kid though, right?
Yeah, but that was because I had no choice in it, and they told my young mother that she had no choice in it. So yeah, I have been vaccinated.
Yeah, but we have video of her with that shot too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little fisticuffs going on. What if your job says, hey?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I had that conversation with my boss today, where she said the senior management has been seriously thinking about it. And I thought that was kind of interesting, given that I work for a nonprofit and they usually are very, how do you say, Switzerland?
Right. They don't have a platform.
But there would be some real issues, because I don't feel a need to get it. But on the other hand, I miss my family. I miss my family a lot. I miss going out and doing things. But is that going to be enough for me to get shot up with something that I just don't feel comfortable with?
Right.
And right now, the answer to that is no.
Right. So I assume because you're at the prison, are they making you guys do that?
No, we haven't been in the jail in almost a year. You know what I mean? We were close. We had a date. Mid-November, we were going back, and then the numbers started spiking again. So now it's off the table. There is no timetable for us to return, especially with the new strains and everything else, and numbers are going up. The death rates are going up. It's off the table.
Wow.
We talked to our staff about it, and people are saying, I don't want to go back in there. I mean, regular interaction with the public is a certain level of risk, but then when you go into a jail or a congregate care facility, it multiplies. So
yes, petri dish. Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't know how people are going to react, because I know that there's probably going to be a lot of jobs that are going to basically say, get the shot and find another job.
Right.
And I don't like that, taking that choice out of people, but I kind of feel like they're going to eventually do that. I kind of think the school system is going to probably do that, so that the teachers have a little bit more level of comfort. We know that the kids won't get it, but they can carry it and infect teachers and administrators, bus drivers, and all kinds of people. To what Jermaine said, if you don't get people vaccinated, then it keeps the economy down. Because how can I go to work when my kids can't go to school because the school keep getting shut down, and we have to keep doing stay-at-home learning and stuff like that, and I don't have the kind of job where I can work from home? What do I do? So that is going to keep the economy, down as well. And we can't keep waiting on $1,200 stimulus checks or $600 stimulus checks to get people by. That's just not going to do it. And we are blowing a hole in the debt. I do worry about that. I ain't worried about it right now, but that is a concern to me, that we're just basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, and we just printing money that has no value, just so everybody feels good about going right back out and spending it. But at the same time, we have to do something to plug a hole in this, so that once consumers feel like they can go out and buy, then jobs start to come back and things like that. But until we get to that point, we're just going to keep going around and around in a circle. So, any other thoughts on the vaccine?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, with jobs and companies actually mandating that people take a vaccine, I think that's a very slippery slope legally, because let's say, for example, and everything, that this vaccine, it winds up being harmful to people and killing people in the long run, and your job forced you to get the shot.
Very good point. They just opened themselves to a whole lot. Yeah, that's a great point. Is that I can understand why a company, like say for instance, I'll give you a perfect example, the chicken processing plants. That's been a worry because they work in close quarters and everything, and they're passing the coronavirus around. and it's hurting distribution when people are out of work, because even if they don't have it, if they find out they were near somebody that had it, now they have to be treated as if they have it. Now they have to go into quarantine. So it's not even necessarily that you're positive, but you could have been close enough to somebody that was, now causes you to have to be able to stay at home, and that slows down the food chain production and everything else. So the chicken processing plant says, you know what? So we don't have to worry about this no more. Everybody get the shot. But then to Mike's point, then they find out 5 years later, you know how you see them class action suits on TV, call this number by this date, join our class action suit. That's what Mitch McConnell, in some ways, had been fighting against with the liability protections. But he was doing it the wrong way. But there is a certain point to that where you go, wait a minute. We all thought at the time, but see, the problem is we would normally say based on the science. Well, some of that science got contaminated because it got politicized. Because you kept hearing somebody say, Operation Warp Speed, and we're going to have it, da, 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 da. And next thing you know, hell, the orange buffoon was almost right. It did happen before the end of the year. And you don't want to believe anything he says anyway, so now you're sitting there questioning everything scientist does. Most of the time when a scientist tells you something, you can pretty much take it to the bank. But it got so politicized that part of you, as much as you want to believe, okay, this vaccine is going to do what they say, now it's like, well, what if it doesn't? Because a lot of this happened with the same food that was talking about injecting some bleach into your body.
Yeah, I hear you saying that, man. And what I will say is this, is that I'm going to take the vaccine eventually. I just, I really just wanted to really just stand by and see if there was, because I wanted to see what was going to happen if there were a large number of reactions and stuff once the vaccine got out there and stuff. Mm-hmm. And even though they had a goal of like 20 million people or something, they're like at half that. So I think we're getting, we're in the next month or two, we're going to get a large enough sample size of people to understand if there's a widespread reaction to the vaccine. I think it'll prove safe. You have to understand, we talk about Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer didn't participate in that. Just like everything else, taking credit for something that he had no part of and stuff. A lot of these vaccines were independently developed and stuff. I still trust the science. I still believe, if I'll trust that they can make my iPhone better every year, I can trust that, they're going to try to, the science will allow for vaccines.
It's funny you say that about the iPhone, because when I get the update, I always wait about a week before I do it, just to see if they're going to send out a fix to the
patches. Yeah.
I do the same
so
thing.
This is kind of what that is. I'm just standing by for a little bit. It's not like it's not that I'm not going to get it. I just didn't want to be on the leading edge of getting it and stuff.
You didn't want to sign up for the trial. They didn't call it a trial, but you were part of the trial. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, we're going to end it there. Next week we'll probably talk about joining the Space Force, since that's going to be a thing. I don't know how many of y'all are ready to, get your space boots and everything and join the Space Force, but no, I'm just kidding. We won't be talking about Space Force. Just messing with you. But that's going to do it for us for another week of Head to Head with Brian Parker. Again, thank you for everyone for watching. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, share it, like it, everything else. Also, Empower TV Network is on Roku. Go do your search, put in Empower TV, stay connected, watch all the programs, and make sure that you catch on all the updates. I'd like to thank my panel again. It's Marvis Berry, Brad Cawthon, Michael Berry, Jermaine Parker. Until next time, y'all, we'll see y'all. And as always, wear a damn mask.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the